Part 2. Okay, so we're looking at our yellow notes and we're going to be using the booklet to fill in the notes. So, todos los estudiantes, everybody needs to look up here. Plants are living organisms. And in order to stay living, they have to do a lot of things. You know that the reason why plants have flowers is so they can do what? Raise your hand, don't call out. I see. They have flowers so they can reproduce. Thank you. They have stems so they can do what? It supports them like the skeletal system, and it also allows them to do what? This is how we raise our hands. Yes, transport nutrients. Excellent. So all those things are called the plant's what? Starts with an L. It's all the things that keep it alive. All organisms must undergo these things to keep it alive. What's it called? They must undergo. That means they must complete. They must do. Photosynthesis is an example of one of these things. Austin? Exactly. All living things must undergo life processes. And every organism has to undergo all the life processes. Remember red car? All living things have to have all the characteristics of life. They have to do everything that helps them stay alive. So even if you're only one cell, you have to be able to transport things throughout your cell. If you're a multicellular organism like a plant, you have to also be able to transport. You also have to be able to reproduce. So if you reproduce with only one parent without crossing of genes, what's that called, Tyler? Thank you. What if you cross genes and you have a variation of genes with two parents? What's that called, Naomi? Yes. Excellent. So we're going to look at, I'm sorry, I just wrote this wrong. We're looking at the different ways that plants can reproduce asexually. And that term you learned in your groups with your partners was called what? What is the term called that allows plants to reproduce asexually? Sometimes it's artificial, sometimes it's natural. You learned about 2 artificial ways and 2 natural ways. Dwayne? Exactly. Vegetative propagation. Vegetative propagation. And it looks like the term vegetable, so hopefully that'll help you. Remember that this is how plants reproduce all by themselves. I cut the celery stems. This is an example of cutting the stem of a plant and what grew on the bottom. All new roots. The roots weren't there when I first cut it. I'm going to put the potato in water like I did the, can you see the onion from the windowsill? Do you see that stem? Grace, go grab that onion and show everybody the onion. On the windowsill. Peyton's grabbing it. Somebody grab it, go. Show everybody the onion. Do you see what happened? It's growing. It already has the roots, but what's growing off the top? The stem. How long did that take to grow? A very long time. And then it took 2 weeks, but now it's growing quickly, right? It's green for what reason? What is it going to do now? Undergo photosynthesis. I can now plant it in the ground, and we should get a whole bunch of new onions. What is that called? The onion is called one of these things. What is the onion called? Look up on the board. What is it called, Peyton? It is a bulb. So a bulb is an underground what? It's an underground, it has underground roots, but it's also an underground stem that stores food, that can make new plants that are identical. New plants. You know bulbs. You plant bulbs. Maybe with your parents. You help them. Tulips are one of the examples. The onion is another example. Do you want to draw a picture? Sometimes drawing pictures help us. So you draw a little picture of the bulb with the roots and then the plant itself. Tulips have seeds, but they take way too long to grow. So nature provided with a way that they can reproduce asexually by bulbs. You'll see a picture I'm going to show you of the bulb right here. This is what it looks like. I'll go back. This is the part that's going to undergo photosynthesis, the leaves. This is going to absorb. And this part stores all the food. Whoa. So it become a whole new plant. Same thing with potatoes. The potato plant has flowers. but they're so weak that they generally die before they can produce a whole new plant. So then potatoes are like, wait a minute, my whole species of potatoes is going to die. I cannot let that happen. So one potato can become many potatoes through those little eyes. So we'll do that soon. I was waiting for the potato to get a little bit older so it could start to grow and develop all on its own. That underground stem is not a bulb, but it's called a tuber. But they're very similar. So if you want to, you can write next to bulbs, tubers. You learned about runners in your little booklet. Runners, the stems grow which direction? Outwards. Good job. So outward, another word for outward is not vertical, but horizontal. Thank you. They're horizontal stems. And when the original plant grows, here's the original plant. From the stem, it grows horizontally, and when it hits the ground, another plant will grow and continue to grow. Somebody give me an example of plants that grow by runners. They run across and grow. Tyler. Excellent. Strawberries do that. Your front yard is an example as well. You ever rip off a little piece and then you get a whole bunch with it? And this is the reason why we can actually plant sod. What is the name of that plant? That's sod, Trevor. Grass, yeah. Grass is a runner. Because we cut the grass's flowers, and then how does the grass reproduce? It doesn't have flowers anymore. So it reproduces by the horizontal stems. So when you pick it up, isn't it like a whole big patch of it that goes with it? And all of their roots are also connected. Bamboo grows like that too. That's why the bamboo grows out of control. They grow more like rhizoids and nodes. They grow under the ground, but they grow crazy bamboo. Anything that grows asexually is going to grow really quickly because you don't need another parent. These two are natural. The next one is grafting. Somebody tell me what a grafting is. Let's look at a picture of a graft. A lot of times, that is an example of grafting. You have a whole bunch of different flowers on the same tree. Why does that happen? This is grafting. A lot of artists graft trees. They made this. They grafted this. Where that green lines are is where they cut the tree and then they secured a new branch on from a different tree and made that arch. They make this little, looks like a little cage. Somebody made a chair. It takes a pretty long time. It took that man, if we have enough time, we'll watch a little video, a long time to make that tree with the 40 different fruit. That's a real tree. This is called a scion. And what happens is, generally we pick a really hardy plant. We're using the stem of a really, really hardy plant, but then they generally don't have like good tasting fruit maybe, or they're not pretty flowers. So we take something that we like pretty flowers or good tasting fruit, and we attach it to the really hardy bottom. So now we embed it inside, and then you put like string around it and wax. And then you let it start to grow. And then eventually they'll grow together. So you could do that to many different, he did 40 different fruits. I bet you they could probably more. He wasn't a scientist. That guy was an artist. And that was one of his jobs. So if you wanted to, you could be a horticulturist or a landscape designer. You could do this for millionaires and make millions of dollars. You could be the artist that makes all these different trees through grafting and different plants. It's some kind of job that is very lucrative. You can make a lot of money. So you could be the artist that has a whole forest of crazy trees and make people come to it and make them pay you money. That could be what your attraction would be. All right, so grafting. Somebody tell me the definition for grafting quickly, Dwayne. Good. Good, and you have to attach what are we attaching? New branches on to plants. And then they grow. Your examples are the trees, the fruit trees. Fruits or different flowers, or you might just want different shapes of trees. Somebody wants a tree shaped in an arch. It doesn't grow naturally like that. You can make it happen. They're going to give you $2 million because they're millionaires. Do you want this job? You need to know everything about trees. You need to understand them. That's why science is a lucrative position for you. Go ahead, Dwayne. I'm going to show you. Hopefully we have enough time. We have 5 more minutes, and I think the video is like 3 minutes. We're going to watch it. Cutting leaves, cutting roots, cutting stems. We did this already in the class, and you get a whole new plant. This lettuce, I cut the whole thing off, and I have a whole new lettuce. It's a clone. It's an exact replica of the original lettuce that I ate. It's going to taste the same. So if you want to win that pumpkin contest, are you going to take the seeds from the pumpkin? From the biggest pumpkin you found? No, because that's sexual reproduction. That's crossing of genes. You have to take a piece of the pumpkin plant that grew that pumpkin. Here's my avocado. It was delicious. I'm going to try to grow a whole nother avocado. This is a seed. Is it going to taste the same as the other one? No, because this is sexual reproduction. But this carrot, if I eventually let it grow, it's going to taste like the other carrot because I cut the root. So cuttings, you're making a whole nother plant from a piece of it. Like carrots, like lettuce, like roses. Different organisms can produce it. So let's see what the movie says. Oh, hi, how you doing? Myself, I just tripped over the wire. Where's the movie? I'm going to shut this off. Find it.